Hi, Cecile here from Just Another Button Company, and we've been encouraging you to embellish with your beautiful hand-dyed buttons. And as I have been sewing on hundreds of buttons lately, it's come to me that there is a really fun way to sew on a button on a little pillow that's already stuffed. You can't sew all the way through because then your pillow would be all tufted all over. So I'm calling this Snug a button. It's a way to sew on a button to something that's already stuffed. So I'm going to show you how on this little B is for button pillow. Put it down here in front of me. Now it's facing you right now, and I really like with this color fabric. I like that button right there. You know, we have other videos where we show you how we plan, how we're going to put, arrange the buttons on there before we sew them on. But let's just talk about this one button today. I picked something kind of big so that it's easy for you to see. And I also chose a thread that's going to give you some contrast so you can see it well. It's not the thread that you would use. We recommend that you pick a thread. Aurifil is our favorite, but a color that matches the button that you're using. So I have a double strand of Aurifil thread. I'm tying a knot near the end, and I'm deciding where I want to put the button. Now I'm going to have trouble with right and left here because I'm going to call the right my right and the left my left, which is going to be opposite for you, but it doesn't really make a difference, just to distinguish that sometimes you're going to use one hole and sometimes the other. So if I want my button to be right here, I know that's the spot for the right hand hole. Nope, I don't want it to hang over. Okay, so I'm going to put it right there. Might even be able to look, I can see that little pin dot there, so I know that's where I'm going to start. All right, so I am going to lay that off to the side for just a minute, and I'm just going to take one little stitch there, just through the B, just through the top layer of the pillow. It's okay if you catch this fabric, you just don't want it to go all the way through. So you've only got a few threads here, maybe 3 or 4 threads. And I'm taking one stitch there. All right, now if I pulled it all the way down to the knot against the fabric, you can see the knot right there. I'm going to back it off a little bit so that I can see the threads right before the knot. And I'm going to slide my needle between the 2 threads. Okay, there, I've made it do a loop there. Okay, my needle is now between the 2 threads. I'm going to put it all the way through. And now pull the knot up against the fabric. Now my thread is secure. I didn't have to take a stitch on the back of the pillow to do that. It's just secure right there on the top. I'm going to cut it off. Just leave 1/8 of an inch or so, and you can tell that it's going to be completely covered. That stitch will be completely covered by the button when I'm all finished. Okay, so that's where, for me, the right hand hold of the button is. It's going to be positioned just like that. Okay, but I'm actually going to hold the button in my hand rather than laying it on the pillow. I sewed up through the right hand hole. Now I'm going down through the left hand hole. For you, it would be opposite. Unless you want to sew yours on upside down like I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to take a look now and see how far apart are those 2 holes. One thread is right there, that would be for this one, and the next thread would be right there, and I'm purposely going to sew further away. I'm making another stitch to the left of the first, but further away than the 2 holes to the button, so I'm doing that on purpose. Okay, now see how I'm still holding this in my hand, and I'm pulling the threads. Okay, so they're not exactly parallel, but you can see how my button's not twisted, or my threads are not twisted behind the button. Try to keep everything from getting tangled. Now, holding onto that button, sew back up through that same hole that you just went down. So this is what it looks like on the back. See how you have 4 threads there now. The first double thread, the second double thread, that same hole. Don't sew through your threads. Just go through the hole. If you sew through a thread, you're locking it in place. That's something you want to avoid as you snug down your button in the next step. Okay, I need to show you the top. So you came up through the left hole, and now you are going down through the right hole. Okay, so now this is where you took your first stitch, and then you took this stitch, and now you're back over to this side. But because you don't want to sew through your same thread, because you would lock the thread, go a couple stitches over to the side and take one last stitch like that. Okay, now can you do this with your button? If you pull on this, will your button slide up and down? Look at that. I'm pulling first on the thread, then on the button, alternately. Until the button is snug against the pillow. Make sure it's all the way down. Twist it a little bit just to make sure that last thread goes in place. Now, because your stitches on the back are a little bit further apart than that, this is the really fun trick. Take your thread, wrap it around once and twice, and give it a little pull, and it's pulling those threads in underneath there and making that button just fit super tight against the pillow. Now, get your needle again, pick up your pillow, stitch through the threads underneath, come up through the loop that you have, and slowly pull that down to keep from getting a knot. Now do the same thing again, stitch through the threads, keep everything from being tangled by doing it slowly. Come up through that loop, pull tight, and now it's knotted underneath the button, so you're going to clip off just underneath, and look at that. That button is snugly underneath. It's sewn tight to the pillow. All of the little thread ends are hidden underneath. There's nothing showing on the back. Isn't that cute? And you can cover the entire top of it, and all of the buttons stay in the place where you put them. They don't wobble all over, so that if you go back and you want to add another layer of buttons, it works perfectly. Thanks for joining us.